One opinion that I'm seeing all over the place online that I just cannot comprehend and I think is really disrespectful are people saying that it was Klopp's team that won the Premier League last season. As if now, because of this bad period that Arne Slot is going through, that we're just discrediting what he did last season. I can't understand that because yes, he took over a great squad. There's no doubt about that. But the amount of things where he transformed that team last season, I understand not the actual individuals, but the way we played, the way we set up, the way he won the league over 38 games. There is no luck in that. And for me, the most difficult part about Arne Slot taking over this team last season was from the very first training session. My worry is there was so much pressure on him to have the players on board. And what I mean by that is for the players to come in after such an iconic character like Jurgen Klopp and to say, yes, I believe in you. I will fight for you. I will listen to you. For me, that was almost that was all going to be decided within almost the first week. And Slot managed to do that. And that's really difficult given how long Jurgen was there at the club. And then people say, oh, it was Klopp's team. We know how many things he transformed. For example, from the very first match week against Ipswich, he took off Kwanzaa at halftime. We saw how brutal he was in kind of his decision making. And to some, maybe that's not popular, right? Because maybe he doesn't give enough chance to the youth, this or that. But at the time, people were like, I like this from Slot. He's brutal. He's willing to make these decisions to win because he's a winner. People were saying that, mind you. Oh, he's a genius in the way he's transformed Ryan Gravenberch and gotten the best out of him. Now he's in the sixth row. Instead of spending 100+ million on a defensive midfielder in the market, he was able to get the best out of Gravenberch, who was perfect for us in that role. Or playing Luis Diaz in the false nine. There's so many things that he did. And, you know, you talk about people say it was Klopp's team. The times I went to see Liverpool live last season, for me, it was a completely different team in the way that we played. So much more controlled. So much more controlled. I remember specifically the Leipzig game. I went there and we went 1-0 up. And it was like after we went 1-0 up, I was just completely calm about the whole situation. I just felt like we had absolute control over the game. And I understand this season is completely different. There's no doubt about that. I'm not completely deluded. But for me, I just cannot understand people online discrediting Arne Slot for what he did last season. Because if that was just Klopp's team, then Klopp would have won the season when he had that team. But he didn't. Slot made these key changes. But for me, the biggest thing, the biggest hurdle he had to overcome, like I said, was getting the backing of these world-class players who have elite standards. If Slot wasn't a top coach, trust me, the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, they wouldn't have gone on board. And we wouldn't have seen the team fighting week in, week out like we saw them, you know? And then when people say, oh, but look at the way they went on holiday after winning the league title, at the time, all of us were fine with that. And again, it's so easy in hindsight. There's so many issues this season. But one thing I can't do is discredit someone who delivered us some of the most beautiful memories of our lives. I mean, I was there for the parade and I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. And it's Arne Slot that delivered that. He's a title-winning manager. You know, and this is something I do feel passionate about because I've seen it. Unfortunately, it's a discourse I'm seeing commonly online right now. And I find it to be really disrespectful. Because yes, in this moment, he's under a lot of pressure. Yes, it hasn't been good enough this season. But there's lots of reasons for that, you know? And I actually want to say I'm sorry for my post-match reaction after the loss to Forest. I think I put a lot of blame on Slot and he is to blame for this, but there also has to be blame in a lot of other situations like the players, the recruitment. There's a lot. It's a lot more nuanced than just saying it's solely the manager because a lot of the basic things that we're not able to do, like winning 50-50 balls, like the way we lose our duels, that's not a tactical thing. That's the mentality, you know? And I'm sure Slot has been talking about that for months now, but clearly the players aren't delivering in that aspect. And that's also on the players, you know? So it is more of this nuanced thing. And I agree, ultimately, if this form doesn't turn around, then eventually Slot is going to be the first one to go. That's how football works, you know? And it's a results-based business. But don't go tracking back on last season and now all of a sudden act as if he didn't achieve these things with Liverpool. Because for me, it's really disrespectful for someone that's now in Liverpool's history. You can have whatever opinion you have of him now. Me personally, I'm not Slot out in this moment, even though I see a lot of people are reactionary that way online. And the main reason is I don't think we're United. I don't think we're a Chelsea in the way that when things start to go wrong, we immediately sack. And the reason I say that is, let's say we bring in another manager like the Bournemouth coach. That's what I've seen a lot of people mention. Let's say the moment things get tough for him, right? Let's say we start to lose 5-6 games. Does that mean that then it means immediately in the future we sack that manager? And then that's the identity of our club. Like, I'm not saying this is good enough what we're seeing right now, but I just want people who say they're Slot out to understand what that really means and to understand the repercussions that come with that. Because it's so easy to just say sack, but then you have to have a solution, and then it's a vision. You have to have a long-term vision. And like I said, if your vision is to sack a manager during this difficult spell, right? However many losses from our last 8, then in the future, we got to act the same way. Maybe even more brutally, because this manager has actually won us the Premier League, like I've just been speaking about, that he deserves respect for. So if we bring in Areola, whoever it may be, they've never felt the pressure of what it is to manage Liverpool Football Club. And I think it would be the most beautiful thing if we got through this difficult period and it made Slot a better manager and he stayed at the club and he proved people wrong. Again, I'm not deluded. If it keeps going this way, at some point, it's just going to have to be time to go. But I'm just saying, for people that are Slot out, I just want them to understand in the bigger picture than just this reactionary thing. Because for me, it sets an identity for what our football club is if we sack him right now, which is what I heard a lot of people online. I don't know people out. I mean, the people I know who are not posting online, they don't feel like this. But a lot of YouTubers and people who speak about Liverpool are Slot out now, I see. And I'm just saying, offer real solutions in the big picture if you're going to be saying that. You know what I mean? And it is nuanced. Like I said, I'm not accepting this is good enough. Trust me, I'm not accepting. But I'm also looking at the reality where, for me, if you say you want someone to be out, you need to have real solution as to who's going to step in. And if you believe that manager is just going to go fix everything, first of all, but then also, like I said, a new identity for the club, which is if we bring in Areola, for example, because that's, like I said, a name I'm hearing a lot, or Glasner. I see lots of people saying Glasner. If he goes on a bad run of 7-8 games, whatever it may be, then he's getting sacked too. And that's the way our club would behave in difficult moments, and I think what makes Liverpool beautiful is the fact that we stick together during difficult times. And that's not to say that we're accepting this moment. It's to say that we don't believe this moment is going to last forever, and we believe that we can turn this around. Do you know what I mean? That's how I see things, at least, and as you can hear, you could probably hear that I'm quite passionate, and I felt I needed to voice my opinion because I know quite a few people who also are like, they just can't believe the discourse that's happening online around people discrediting Slot now, and saying that he's not a good manager, this or that. You can't take away what someone has done, you can't take away what someone has done. And like I said, I don't know if he's going to be able to turn it around, but I think it would be the most beautiful and Liverpool thing for him to turn it around, for us to stick together and show that in difficult moments, we can bounce back and we can come back stronger from those moments. I don't know if it'll happen, to be honest. I don't know if it'll happen, but I just know the solution to me, it doesn't feel right to go right to the sacking, which is what so many people online are saying. I understand too, it's good for clicks and it's good for getting more views. But for me, there's also a responsibility that comes with saying things like that, because it's a big thing to be saying that, in my opinion. It is a big thing, and trust me, I've thought a lot about this, because in these moments where Liverpool suffers so much, I don't know about you guys, but I'm finding it more and more difficult to not be thinking about Liverpool constantly, because I am worried, because these results do hurt a lot because of how much I care for this team, you know? Like, imagine I've been making content around Liverpool for 12 years now on a daily basis. On a daily basis. And there's still people online who are saying, Glory Hunter, this and that. You know, I don't get fussed by it because I've been doing this for so long. But imagine for like 12, 13, 14 years now, I don't think there's been a single day I haven't been making content around Liverpool specifically. So, you know, this club means the world to me, and I'm really hurting in this moment, like I know many of you guys are hurting, but it's also so important for us to look at the bigger picture, you know, and like I said, that's my personal opinion, and I'm still going to respect other people's opinions, but I just think, like I said, if you have a reactionary take, that you need to be able to really back your case, and I haven't heard people backing their case when they've said Slot out, in my opinion. That's just me. But anyways, let me know if you agree or disagree. If you've also seen this saying online that it was KLOPP'S team that won the league title last season. And anyways, I just felt I had to make this video because there was too much disrespect out there. And yeah, so for those of you that are still here, I appreciate your support, and I will see you guys in the next one. We gotta bounce back. We gotta bounce back. We gotta stick together. You'll never walk alone, guys. See you in the next one. Ciao.